wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time and strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh Shai is his treasure.
Right. See, it's the wisdom and knowledge is going to be what strengthens you and keep you stable in that time. And like I said, the fear of the Lord, that's wisdom, the fear of the Lord. It's the one thing that Esau cannot take from us, you know. But if you don't have it, you can't acquire it. You know, it's not something that you can just pick up and read and study at the last minute and you're going to know what to do. And that's the beauty about this truth. It's an ever learning process. We steady learning, we steady growing in the spirit, and we steady being transformed and renewed in the mind.
Right.
But if you ain't never started that process, when that time comes, it's gonna be too late. So that's why Amos 8:13 again it says, "In that day the beautiful virgins and even the vigorous young man shall faint from thirst," which the Lord was basically saying, even the most profound. That'll be like even your baddies, even the baddies of this day, and the most profound, well-known men of this age, even they gonna be out here looking for the truth, trying to figure out what's going on, and they ain't gonna be able to operate. So you say even the most popular people in this world, they gonna, because if you popular in this world, you well-known, you know, if people like you, if you like this world, then 9 times out of 10, or even 10 times out of 10, you're not popular in the heavens. Because if you're a friend of the world, you're an enemy to the Most High.
Right.
So even the most people, or even the people that's, I can't tell that now. I can't tell that. But even the people that's most popular and well known and liked in this world, that ain't your status in the heavens. But with Daniel, Daniel wasn't he was liked in both of his captivities after a while, you know, after his reputation came up. But in I believe it was the Persian captivity, I think that was the one where he was getting thrown in the lion's den. What happened? He had men out there trying to get him arrested, trying to get him killed. But an angel said that he was beloved in the heavens. So his relationship in the heavens, or his status in the heavens, was far greater than what it was on earth. And it's the same with the men on the earth. But with the rest of the people, that's outside of this realm of, you know, being under Yahweh by Shema Messiah, the complete opposite. Go ahead.
Going back to just speaking on, I had this is 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 16 in the AFB. For how do you know, wife, whether you will save your husband? Right?
I declare, I, not the Lord, since Yahweh Shai did not discuss this, and if any believing brother has a wife who does not believe in Yahweh Shai, and she consents to live with him, he must not leave her.
And that's how even to today, for example, brothers have women, brothers have wives, you know, just personal accounts, like myself included, has or had. You know, brothers had or have women. They might, well, they're around you every day. Some of y'all live together. They just seen you every day. They know what you do. They know your daily routine. They know that you try to keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability. They know that you consider yourself a Hebrew Israelite. And just because she don't necessarily believe, that don't mean you cast her away. I'm done with you. You got to move out, stuff like that. But like myself, like personally, the woman I was dealing with, she didn't have a problem with it. She didn't follow up behind. She didn't try to get into it with me, or try to ask me all about it, or trying to fall in under it, but she didn't have a problem with it. So yeah, it ain't like I just said, I don't done with you because you don't believe what I believe, and that's the end. But, you ain't supposed to do that. But at the end of the day, that's still your woman. Just like the scriptures say, you still it's already scriptures on it.
Right. And then too, as a man, and it's true, you don't have to teach your woman. Don't worry about teaching your woman because you first and foremost, you at a disadvantage. You know, Esau they done had years upon years of programming and westernization, feminism, all that ideology. We don't stand up against it, even coming with the truth, because it's the Lord that opens their mind. So if she still willing to be with you after knowing everything you believe, that's enough, you know. But furthermore, Jacob's trouble is what's going to change their mind. As we see Isaiah 4:1, that's when they're going to conform to you. And it say, let us be called by thy name. So that means they're going to be willing to do whatever it takes to be under you. If you Israel, well not if, but we Israelites, guess what? They're going to be calling themselves Israelites on that day. Because they're going to be your wife. You think she's going to be your wife and say, I ain't no Israelite in the time of Jacob's trouble. When she needs you to survive, she's going to say she an Israelite. Oh, she believes now. She believes in what you believe, whatever it is that whatever it is you do. So you ain't got to worry about trying to teach your woman unless y'all discussing. She just asking you questions because she want to learn. But if it ain't that case,
she got a listening ear. Yeah, you do teach your woman. She's got a listening ear because you teach your whole family. You know that was part of our duties back in the day. We sat down at the table. And we talk to family. That's why I said let a woman learn from home, because you got to teach your kids the law, statutes, and commandments. But if they got a willing ear to hear, you teach them. But like you said, if she don't want to listen to them, you just move on.
Don't force it, because you don't want to be in line in your house, because she might, after y'all done argued about it and everything, she might still stay with you, but now that's gonna be on her conscience that you trying to force it on, and you don't want to put yourself in that predicament. Verse 13, and if any believing woman has an unbelieving husband, and he consents to live with her, she must not leave him.
It's still the same thing as vice versa. Sisters like that, it's still unrighteous. You got a man that don't believe, and you do. You still want to put that man like a husband, still the head of the household. You're your head. You still want to do your woman to do. If you big cooking and clean for him, then you still ain't on board. If you ain't actually question, you still taking care of you. You know what I'm saying? You still putting food on the table, taking care of the children. You don't supposed to leave that man and try to go find a brother in the truth.
Right. And I got a precept to that too, because it's a reason why. Like you said, because Peter went into it real quick. It's 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1. Likewise, you wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives, while they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear.
And that's even to this day. Like even with the movies and stuff, they got the superheroes. They always get to them through the woman. Man got soft with a woman.
Yeah.
You say you being a woman in your house, you doing what you're supposed to do, and that man still taking care of you. You don't get into it with him just because he don't believe what you believe. Like you can win him over. Like you say, you might get an argument with your woman. She put some eyes on you. The soft part. You don't even be mad. Look, baby, I'm sorry. Stuff like this.
Right.
And even with that ain't an account for. It's an account for that too. Read that again.
I'm reading the A and P. It's 1 Peter 3:1 in the A and P. In the same way, wives, be submissive to your own husbands, which means subordinate, not as inferior, but out of respect for the responsibilities entrusted to husbands and their accountability to the Most High, and so partner with them, so that even if some husbands, some men, do not obey the word of the Most High, they may be won over to Yahweh without discussion by the godly lives of their wives, when they see your modest and respectful behavior, together with your devotion and appreciation. Love your husband, encourage him, and enjoy him as a blessing from the Most High.
What's that account of that scripture? Was the believer's wife? Well, the wife, her husband was like out of control. She beat him up. She made a guilt.
Oh, you talking about Abigail?
Yeah, Abigail.
I think his name was Nabal.
Everybody killed him.
David, David, man, he
while you're getting that, I was gonna say one reason why the Most High put that on Peter hard to say that is because going back to Sirach 25, you know, it says if she, I got it. If she go not as thou will have her cut her off from thy flesh and give her a bill of divorce and let her go. So at during that time up until Peter, men were just giving women divorces, you know, letting them go, you know. So Peter saying, look, you can't be doing that. If she's willing to stay with you, you know, and she's not causing you problems and hindering you from doing, you know, doing the work of the Lord, you know, let her stay. You know, she's the weaker vessel. You know, so just kind of going into that because that verse came up as y'all started reading it.
Right. Like you were saying too, the righteous behavior of the woman, that'll make us as men, we don't experience like the scripture say, who can find a virtuous woman? Even before we came into the truth, you know, a man still wanted a good woman that you know that'll be down for him. He could have been in the streets or whatever, but you would still want that solid woman that's gonna hold you down no matter what. Right. So you find a woman that's doing that and she believes because that's what Peter was going into. Like, you know, you can still encourage your husband and maybe possibly win him over into the truth by your conduct and how you treat him, like you were saying. Like cooking and cleaning and stuff like that. I was saying the cooking and cleaning and how you act.
The one thing by that, you know, you go back and look at wisdom, you know, Proverbs 31, and how if a woman is operating in that capacity, men in the street are going to be commending her husband, like, you got a good woman, you got a good wife, you know. So if he's out there wilding out and he know he has something good, what is he going to do? Eventually he's going to start changing his ways because he don't want to lose her, you know. And, you know, if she's in the scriptures and reading the word and stuff like that, he's going to, you know, how you so calm? What do you do to be calm? She said, I study the scriptures, you know, and so he's gonna try to start learning to follow that way the same way with the woman. You know, the man, you know, other women out there like, we got a good husband. You know, we got a good man, take care of the family, can do this and do that, you know, he's there for you. You know, she gonna start changing her ways as well because she don't want to lose him, you know, because you know, another woman come up to a woman, tell a woman she got a good husband and this and that. You know, she thinks she finna go. It's competition time, right? You know, so right.
And going back to what you said about the woman with the man, if the man ain't right, like you said, either it'll make him get right or it'll make the Lord take him out, and he'll pair that woman up with a man that, you know, a righteous man, which is one of the qualities.
Righteous woman and a wicked man, like an unbelieving man. Like he might be out there doing whatever he do, selling this, doing that, but he always come back home to that peace. You know? And he out there, it might be that one incident, like she been doing her womanly duties the whole time. Yeah, it might be that one thing one day. He might get into somebody, get into a shootout, he get hit, whatever. But she still, like I said, she that pillar of rest. He like, man, you been with me this whole time. I've been doing this BS all these years. And I ain't got nothing out of it. But you, she might have been getting like little promotions or something at work and doing whatever. But she'd have been that humble woman the whole time. And he'd be like, yeah, like you've been saying, like, I need to go ahead and get right before I lose this woman. Or before I may end up dead and I don't even get to live the rest of my days with her.
And so the 1 Samuel 25, starting in verse 1 to AMP. Now Samuel died, and all Israel assembled and mourned for him, and they buried him at his house in Ramah. Then David left and went down to the wilderness of Paran. Now there was a man in Moan whose business and possessions were in Carmel, and the man was very rich. He had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats, and he was shearing his sheep in Carmel. The man's name was Nabal, and his wife's name was Abigail. She was intelligent and beautiful in appearance, but the man was harsh and evil in his dealings. He was Calebite, which a descendant of Caleb. So he was Caleb was a really Jew. They said she was a good understanding to KJV.
He had money. They said he was rich. He scared the cattle, let the sheep.
Verse 4, it says, David heard in the wilderness that Nabal was shearing his sheep. So David sent young men. And David said to the young men, go up to Carmel and go to Nabal and greet him in my name. And this is what you shall say. Have a long life. Peace be to you, and peace to your house, and peace to all that you have. Now I have heard that you have shearers. Now your shepherds have been with us, and we have not harmed them, nor were they missing anything all the time that we were in Carmel. Ask your young men, and they will tell you. Therefore, let my young men find favor in your sight, and be well treated. For we have come on a good festival day. Please give whatever you find at hand to your servants and your son David. When David's young men came, they spake to Nabal according to all these words in the name of David. Then they waited. But Nabal answered David's servant and said, Who is David? And who is the son of Jesse? There are many servants today, each of whom is breaking away from his master. So should I take my bread and my water and my meat that I have slaughtered for my shearers and give it to men when I do not know where they are from?
So he was being greedy.
So David's young men made their way back and returned, and they came and told him everything that was said to them by Nabal. You know how Jake get today. You know, you look out for him, you do something for him, and then they don't even want to. They act like you ain't never did nothing for him. Who is David? You know. Yeah. He ain't do nothing for me. You know, that's Jake for you.
Himself,
you know.
Nobody gave me shit.
Right. You loan them some, like he said, look, we ain't touch you, we ain't harm, I ain't take nothing from you. I looked out for you when I was in that area. You know. I'm just, you know, good unto me. Be like, man, I ain't did nothing for me.
Yeah, like whatever you had on hand. Like, he actually everything. You got a money, you know what I'm saying? Put something.
David said to his men, each man put on your sword. So each man put on his sword to scrap up. David also put on his sword, and about 400 men went up behind David, while 200 men stayed back with the provisions and supplies. But one of Nabal's young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, listen, David sent messengers out of the wilderness to bless and greet our master, and shouted at them in contempt. And he shouted at them in contempt. But David's men were very good to us, and we were not harmed or treated badly, nor did we miss anything as long as we were with them when we were in the field. They were a wall of protection to us both night and day, and all the time that we were with them tending the sheep. Now then, know this and consider what you should do, for evil is already planned against our master and against all his household. But is such a worthless and wicked man that one cannot speak reasonably to him? But what he is like.
I'm glad to say, like you said, man, David ain't did nothing good to your brother on that bullshit. They ain't taking ground in that. They about to pull up.
Right.
See, that's like he started to take that scene and put it in the movie. Because, you know, you got a good deal, big time good deal, done right to a family and stuff and everything, and then he come ask them for, you know, a little favor or something, and they rise up and say, you never, you know, done nothing to us, you know, for us, blah blah blah, you know. Then all of a sudden he tell the guys, y'all strap up, let's go deal with this, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, David is a righteous man, but Esau took that analogy and flipped it, you know. Now you got Nino pulling up with all his boys and stuff, and he ready to take what you got.
Like I said, at the end of the verse, let's say pretty much you like, he ain't even worth the problem. And your husband ain't worth the problem. I think you might well don't leave him there. Save yourself.
Can you get real quick to Roxville? I'm gonna go back to the story, but since y'all had mentioned that, since we're going into this point, Roxville 1 through 6. Well, 1 through 7. Matter of fact, I'm gonna finish this and then we'll get it. It's verse 18. Then Abigail hurried and took 200 loaves of bread, 2 jugs of wine, 5 sheep already prepared for roasting, 5 measures of roasting grain, 100 clusters of raisins and 200 cakes of figs and loaded them on donkeys.
And you know she got the best that she can get.
Oh,
You
yeah.
don't finna come with no BS.
Right.
You ain't say what type of wine, but you know it's good wine. You know it's good raisins, great.
Yeah. You said how many raisins?
Hey, taste the wine.
Oh, yeah, 2 jugs.
Oh yeah, that's the big
You know
deal.
she passed out the best of the best. And she know, just like her husband, she know who David is.
Mm-hmm.
She been giving that man the best of the best because of what he did for y'all. And then he said he out there ready to ride. And you don't want to come with no bull, but all right, so the husband just said, fuck with some favor. He said, fuck my messenger. And then you gonna give me this too?
Right. And she knew he was coming to take the whole house out. David's a mighty man of war. This long after, well, I ain't gonna say long, but this is after Saul had already had passed away. And you know, at the time of Saul, they were like Saul is thousands and David is 10,000. Talking about how he was a mighty warrior. So you got David and then 400 of his men. David probably could have took the whole house by himself.
You know everybody stand on big.
Right.
You act like you don't know David, like everybody know about him and Goliath at the end.
Right.
You know that story ring bells, man.
Right. Verse 19. She said to her young men, servants, go on ahead of me. Behold, I am coming after you. But she did not tell her husband the ball. It happened that as she was riding on her donkey and coming down by the way of the hidden part of the mountain, and suddenly David and his men were coming down toward her, and she met them. Now David had said, surely in vain I have protected and guarded all that this man has in the wilderness, so that nothing was missing of all that belonged to him. And he has repaid me evil for good. Maybe.
David said, so I did all that for nothing.
Now, you can get it now. That's a good place to get it.
I didn't need it for nothing, so this man can't solve me.
This is Sirach 12, verse 1. It says, when thou wilt do good, know to whom thou doest, so shalt thou be thanked for thy benefits.
Right.
Do good to the godly man, and thou shalt find a recompense, and if not from him, yet from the Most High.
Right. So it's wisdom on telling you, know who you're doing stuff for, And if it's a godly man, look, they gonna look out for you too. They gonna render unto you. They gonna do good unto you. It might not be in the same form or fashion, but even if it's whatever the case may be, I ain't gonna say even if it's something small, but whatever the case may be, like I said, even if it's not from him, from the Lord, we ain't doing it just to receive a reward. We doing it because this is who we are.
The godly man or woman, because remember the woman that had the child, she was like only have enough oil and flour for me and my son, and she went on and what prophet was that?
Either Elijah or Elisha. It was Elisha.
Yeah, she fed. I can't remember what prophet, but she fed the prophet, and the Most High gave her, sevenfold.
But no,
Huh?
you see the flour, they got a hole.
Flour and oil, because he wanted her to make her some cakes.
I can't remember. I'm thinking about a different account.
Yeah, it was a prophet. I can't remember which one. I want to say it was Sam. And she fed him the cakes, and the Most High gave her 7 folds of the back. So it's man or woman. Just saying women that do good deeds, for to help out the righteous man, and also who was that in the Apocrypha that slayed the general. He thought he was going to get away and hid in her tent, and she slayed him.
I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember her name, but Susanna, was it Susanna?
I can't remember. I don't think
But yeah. All right, I'm going to read verse 2 again. It said, do good to the godly man, O woman, and thou shalt find a recompense, and if not from him or her, yet from the Most High. There can no good come to him that is always occupied in evil, nor to him that giveth nor no harm.
wife. It was her name was Jael, the wife of Bar, the Kenite. She killed the Canaanite army commander Sisera with a tent peg as the camp, which was in the book of Judges, chapter 4 and 5.
Now that's accounted in Apocrypha too. I can't remember.
I think that's what you're talking about. When a woman killed the like I said, the Canaanite army commander. I think that's what you're talking about.
All right. Back to verse 3 again. It said, "There can no good come to him that is always occupied in evil, nor to him that giveth no alms."
Right. See, this was the ball. You know, in this case, he was occupied with evil. Even his servant called him wicked. You know, he was
I'll say it was given to Kings, first Kings.
yeah. I feel it was either Elijah or this was one of them. But yeah, the ball. He ain't. You know, he was doing wicked. You know, and David didn't take too kindly to the Lord. Didn't take too kindly to it either, because the Lord shortly after, you know, not too long after, the Lord took him out. You know, so what David was doing wasn't wrong.
Verse 4, give to the godly man and help not a sinner. Right. So the Most High saying give to the godly, but people that's doing wickedly, you know, that's on your own judgment if you want to give them, you know, help them or give them help. You know, you're not required to help them, but you know, you want to, you know, you try to be good and peaceful with all men, but you know, he said, give to the godly man and help not a sinner. For the Most High, do well unto him that is lowly, but give not to the ungodly. Hold back thy bread, and give it not unto him, lest he overmaster thee thereby. For else thou shalt receive twice as much evil for all the good thou shalt have done unto him.
Right now, we know a lot of this applies to Esau, so-called white man. You know, we ain't gonna go down, but when you go down further, it's gonna tell you not to trust your enemy, never trust thine enemy. And we know it's talking about Esau evil. So mainly, this is because we ain't saying don't do good to your people. You know, don't give or do whatever. That's not what it's saying. It's just like the brother said, know who you doing it to. You know, examine. Because if you know especially if it's Jake, you know Jake be on bullshit. They ain't gonna do right by if you help them out, and you ain't got to, you know. But it ain't saying like if you see somebody poor or something, you know, right. Know that he probably wicked. You know, it ain't saying nothing like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Verse 6, for the Most High hated sinners and will repay vengeance unto the ungodly and keep them against the mighty day of their judge or their punishment.
Right. Now this is again mainly for the other nations, especially Esau evil, but even to our own people. And they say he hated sinners. So when people say God he hates sin, but will love the sinner, that's false. That's a false claim.
Verse 7, give unto the good and help not the sinner. A friend cannot be known in prosperity. An enemy cannot be hid in adversity.
Right. So that goes perfectly for this story of Nabal. I'm going back to this first Samuel chapter 25, verse 21 again. Now David had said, surely in vain I have protected and guarded all that this man has in the wilderness, so that nothing was missing of all that belonged to him, and he has repaid me evil for good. May the Most High do so to the enemies of David, and more also, if by morning I leave alive any one male of anyone who belongs to him. Now when Abigail saw David, she hurried and dismounted from the donkey and kneeled face downward before David and bowed down to the ground in respect. Kneeling at his feet, she said, "My Lord, let the blame and guilt be on me alone, and please let your maidservant speak to you, and listen to the words of your maidservant. Please do not let my Lord pay attention to this worthless man," which I was trying to see what it said in the KJV, but this worthless man, Nabal, but as his name is, so is he, which Nabal means fool. So she called him fool. That's right. Like his name said. It says Nabal, which means fool, is his name, and foolishness, stupidity is with him. But I, your maidservant, did not see my Lord's young men whom you sent. So now, my Lord, as the Lord lives, and as your soul lives, since the Lord has prevented you from shedding blood and from avenging yourself by your own hand, now let your enemies and those who seek to do evil to my Lord be as self-destructive as the ball. Now this gift which your maidservant has brought my Lord, let it be given to the young men who accompany and follow my Lord. Please forgive the transgression of your maidservant, for the Lord will certainly make my Lord a secure and enduring house, because my Lord, which he's talking about David, is fighting the battles of the Lord, and evil will not be found in you all your days. Should anyone rise up to pursue you and to seek your life, then the life of my Lord will be found in the precious bundle of the living with the Lord your God. But the lives of your enemies, those he will hurl out as from the center of a sling. Going back to what you said, they knew about what David did. Going back to the sling that he used when he took out the lion.
She went like you said, she was begging, asking for mercy, and she would plead with him. She was basically like, yeah, and if anybody mess with you, David, let all this stuff happen to him. Like she would give it a gift.
Keep going.
I mean, that
I know you said you trying to get where she had. I'm gonna jump down. Now this is verse 36, or verse 35. So David accepted what she had brought to him and said to her, "Go up to your house in peace. See, I have listened to you and have granted your request." And Abigail came to Nabal, and he was holding a feast in his house with the shears, like the feast of a king. And Nabal too was joyous because he was very drunk. So she told him nothing at all until the morning light. But in the morning, when Nabal was sober, and his wife told him these things, his heart died within him, and he became paralyzed and helpless like a stone. He had a heart attack. Well, no, it said he got paralyzed. It says about 10 days later, the Lord struck Nabal and he died. When David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, "Blessed be the Lord who has pleaded the cause of my reproach, suffering at the hand of Nabal, and has kept his servants from retaliating with evil. For the Lord has returned the wickedness of Nabal on his own head." Then David sent word to Nabal, proposing to take her as his wife. When the servants of David came to Abigail at Carmel, they said to her, "David sent us to you to take you to him to be his wife." And she stood and bowed with her face to the ground and said, "Behold, your maidservant is ready to be a maid to wash the feet of the servant of my Lord." Then Abigail quickly got up and rode on a donkey with 5 of her maidens who attended her, and she followed the messengers of David and became his wife.
she bought 5 with him.
See, I not to cut you off, but when you were reading earlier, I said that I was gonna make the joke and say, "Yes, she probably came from his wife," and after he had died,
Because she had a righteous mindset, which they go back into that First Peter, about how the women, be subject to, because she knew Nabal was a fool. She already knew how her husband was, but she still did her part to the very end, till the Lord took him out. And then because that's the only time women are allowed to go and deal with another man when your husband died. And the Lord took him out, And she, after a period of her mourning for him, the Lord allowed her to be married to the king. That's a huge upgrade. And she was already, living with a wealthy man. So now, with David marrying, Abigail, that wealth that Nabal left it unto her. Now David increased his house. She gonna be taken care of. She gonna be good. She one of the king's wives. And on top of that, all that wealth has went unto David.
And the righteous woman ended up with a righteous man.
Right.
Say David, he had to get his hands dirty. Say, thank the Lord.
Right. And I don't know if she had any children with, Nabal. It don't. We could probably Google it and find it. But we know she had children for David. So, she had a better life after her experience with Nabal. If he was bullshitting on there, he was bullshitting all the time. They were married, ain't no telling where he was, how wicked he would be.
Yeah, like you said, man, they used to ask for a little something. My servant was a little something. He said, he don't even know baby. He gave her nothing. Then she said when she came back, the man was having a feast like a king's feast.
Right.
You ain't gonna give a servant nothing, you gonna be having a ball, huh?
Right.
I think the Lord seen that, he struck his head. You don't have a nothing?
No, we ain't got no money. First Corinthians 7. Yeah, I think I would give it. Back in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, starting back at verse 12. To the rest in the AOP, to the rest I declare, I, not the Lord, since Yahweh did not discuss this, that if any believing brother has a wife who does not believe in Yahweh and she consents to live with him, he must not leave her. And if any believing woman has an unbelieving husband and he consents to live with her, she must not leave him. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified, that is, he receives the blessings granted through his, which is a Christian but believing wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified through her believing husband. Otherwise, your children would be ceremonially unclean, but as it is, they are holy.
Even if it said, not believing in how about you now outside, even with all the stuff that's been through the accounts that's there, and the stories that people told back then, they were living in it. It was foolish to not believe it. It was in his name, fool.
Right. And like you said, with that account with Nabal, he was, he knew he was an Israelite and knew the customs, but here it is, you disrespecting the man of the Lord. And remember, David was a man after the Lord's own heart. So essentially, David thought on the same wavelength as how the Lord would think. He was looking at the world and judging Israel in a way that was approving to the Lord. Right, and he had a good mindset. He had a righteous mindset, like he was a righteous man. So this is the man that you disrespect. The man of the Lord is on. Like I said, when she left from giving David the gift, the next morning when she told Nabal, he got sick, and 10 days later he died. 10 days. That's how quick the judgment of the Lord came. So when David heard about it, well, okay, well, don't send for her. I'm gonna tell her I'm requesting for her to be my wife. She could have declined, but it said she quickly got on the number. Like you said, she took 5 of the maid service with her.
Well, that's a good example of a believing wife and an unbelieving husband. Another example of a believing husband and an unbelieving wife is Job. Job's wife had to be unbelieving for her to tell him to curse God and die. With all the sickness and everything going on around him. So it's many examples in the Bible to give you that Lot's wife could probably have been an unbeliever because she was too caught up in the world and looked back. You just think of all the other women that's mentioned throughout the Bible that could have been unbelieving, just because of their acts and the things that they have said.
Right. Because Job, when she said that, Job said, you sound like one of the foolish women. You sound like a fool saying something like that. When things were good, she was good with the Lord. But when things got bad, and women can't, she couldn't take that type of grief. Job was, he was hanging on, but it was affecting him. So, his wife wasn't going. The women, she definitely was. I ain't gonna say women, but she couldn't stomach it. She couldn't handle it. But what I'm saying there, I was, thinking about what is it, Second Maccabees, Second Maccabees 7, about the Israelite woman who lost all 7 of her sons at one time. It didn't say her name. All 7 of her sons at one time, and she had to watch it. And she even encouraged her last son to take the death like the rest of her brothers. So the Lord,
his brother.
Yeah, the rest of his brothers. So the Lord gave her, He strengthened her spirit to be able to handle it. But for the most part, women can't handle something like that. Losing all your wealth, and then you lose your children too, all your children. That was devastating. But like you said, she wasn't really a believer because none of the believers, none of the elect would ever say, no matter what they go through, they'll never say, they'll never turn their back on the Lord.
Right.
You want me to curse the power? They can get me out of this?
Right. And then what, the blessing that came out of that, the Most High gave Job, double what he had, a wife and kids, and everything.
He was just talking about losing all his sons. Like Job lost all his sons. And that's his meaning.
Right. So, I can see.
Yeah, like you say, she told him to curse the Most High. Job got down and prayed when he heard it.
Shade his head, to show mourning. Like you see, he gave praises to the Lord. He had to let it know, look, it's got to be a balance. We gonna receive good and bad from the Lord on this side. We ain't in the kingdom yet.
Right.
And Job understood.
He give him the take away.
Right. Job understood that, we ain't in the kingdom yet. In the kingdom, we ain't gonna receive no more bad. We ain't gonna go off. We ain't gonna see it no more. Also, too, even just like we remember Job's story to this day, we're gonna remember it all the way into the kingdom. Because I was thinking about this earlier, how certain people, they don't even told us how we be out here teaching and stuff, they can't do what we do. It's the other nations gonna say they can't, they can't fathom what we went through. They can't go through and endure what we went through, even though they gonna have to. They ain't gonna be able to just hold up like we did. Because Yahweh Shema Washai, ultimately he was still with us. He didn't allow us to, wither away off of the earth. But we went through a very hardcore slavery. They ain't gonna be able to handle it. They ain't gonna be able to handle going through a hardcore slavery under us, still keeping a righteous mindset and believing that one day it's gonna get better. They gonna break. They ain't gonna hold to they customs and do, try to do what they was doing prior to them going into captivity. They gonna break and bend.
And even down to this day, like it ain't as hardcore as it was. But even now, these other nations, they can come over here and they can live fruitful. But you got Jake. You make one wrong move, so that's your ass. You get caught. Well, especially before they start changing the laws and stuff. You got brothers that was getting 10, 15 years for a little thing of weed. But you got these people up here trafficking children and messing around with kids. They get a few months, maybe a year, and they can go on about their business if they get punished at all.
And you don't hear about it.
Yeah, but like that was coming up. My mother and my grandma, they used to always say, "Yeah, son, you born with 2 strikes against you." Because you know how they say it coming up. They say you black and you a man. You were born with 2 strikes.
Now, verse 15, back in 1 Corinthians 7 and 15. But if the unbelieving partner leaves, let him leave. In such cases, the remaining brother or sister is not spiritually or morally bound, but the Most High has called us to peace.
She got called to peace. They had to be stressful as hell. Like, your husband and pretty much spending day to face. And he coming to handle some business. And she was probably stressing getting all this stuff together.
She was. Her life was on. Their life was on the line. You about to lose it all.
But you think about it when it said call to peace. You think about it in our day and time. You got peace of mind, peace of spirit, peace of everything. You're not going out that day battling the world and then coming home and battling to midnight before you go to bed. You know, so you got peace.
Right. Like I said, I forgot my phone with it. I was gonna say something. I forgot it. No,
that's what I said.
I would listen to what you said, and I had forgot what I was saying.
About battling the world and then coming home and battling to 12 a.m.
I was gonna say. Oh yeah, I had my own thing. But I would listen to what you said. It says verse 16. For how do you know, wife, whether you will save your husband by leading him to Yahweh Shai? Or how do you know, husband, whether you will save your wife by leading her to Yahweh Shai? Only let each one live the life which the Lord has assigned him, and to which the Most High has called him. For each person is unique and is acceptable for his choices and conduct. Let him walk in this way. This is the rule I make in all the churches.
Wife and a believer husband, vice versa, a believer wife and an unbeliever husband. And it said it in that verse, like through your conduct. Ain't that what it said, conduct?
Right.
It said through your conduct. So you still supposed to do what you're supposed to do as a husband and vice versa as a wife, even if you have an unbelieving spouse. Because like you say, in the end, well, when something go down, they can be persuaded by you.
Right. And then too, you never know how the Lord deals. This is why we always, we move through the Spirit. Why Paul was giving the spiritual advice. You never know how the Lord deal with the people that you dealing with or possibly will deal with. Because you might meet somebody and we go through this. Especially as men, you'll meet a woman and you try to keep away the truth from her. So, cause we ain't trying to force it on, and then at the same time, we already know how this world reacts to people that believe in the truth. Yeah. So, and you already know, you gotta go through the talks of you don't do this and do that, celebrate this. So you try to keep it away for a while, but at the same time, you never know how the Lord will deal with it. He might give her a dream, and she see you getting, she might see what Ezra saw. Men getting crowned, and you one of those men. You just never know.
What happened to where like I said, she might have a dream. She was holding on to your hand, she was with you, and then she went on by her way. Then she go to another turn. There ain't no destruction this way, but the way you going, like I said, you get beaten in the chair.
Right.
Get crowned. I was thinking about
No, go ahead.
I was thinking about like the personal experience. We got brothers who have women or have women that don't believe. Sometimes it don't work out. For me, it didn't. But we went on by her way, and after a while, it wasn't that long at all. It was like, yeah, I miss you sometimes because you can lay shit out here. You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't operate the same. Everybody don't treat you the same. Like you say, they already going to like these women for the most part. They'll go out there already with the mindset. They always say men ain't shit. You had somebody out there handling business for you. You ain't have to, not beating down your throat and you believe this and it's gonna be this way or how. But you want like this, you still treat you like your woman, your wife. They go into the world messing around with 2/3. Like, man, these niggas eat.
Right. That's what they call the wall. They hit the wall. But that's why IUIC, you got a lot of judgment coming because they give you men and women, you got 6 months to a year, and if your spouse or who your husband or wife that you legally married to, if they ain't no believer, you gotta divorce them. You gotta leave and give them one of the brothers, and that's extremely wicked because you causing households to break up, families to break up, and then you causing men and women to commit adultery.
And that's a verse to the scripture. They got scriptures on this already.
And that's because the Pharisees came to Yahweh Shai and asked him about that, asked him about why did Moses get a law of divorce, and Yahweh Shai had to let them know, like, look, in the beginning, it wasn't like that. It ain't gonna be like that in the kingdom of heaven. We ain't gonna be getting divorced in our wives. We gonna have families, and that family gonna stay together forever. But the only reason why divorce even came up because of, like you said, the stoniness of our heart. We wasn't right. As a people. Men might have been wicked or going off. Women might have been wicked or going off. We weren't right. But how was y'all let them know? Like, look, in the beginning with Adam and Eve, that wasn't the case. Or in the beginning in general, that wasn't the case. And how much I had to let the disciples know too, because it was like, look, anybody that if you leave your wife, he said fornication, but when you go into fornication, which this world don't teach, it goes into anything that's sexually immoral. So, because Yahweh Shah specifically said, let a man not leave his wife unless for fornication. But according to this world, fornication is sex before marriage. So how can she be his wife if they never had sex? You know, that don't make sense. Or how can it be sex before marriage if she's already his wife? How can it be fornication? But fornication is anything that's sexually immoral. So the Lord, he got a whole laws about sexual immorality, like sex with siblings and parents. He got the do's and the animals. He got the do's and the don'ts. That's what fornication or adultery. So he said, unless it's because of, you know, sexual immorality, don't leave your wife, you know. But if she commit that, then you got a reason. But if she don't do that, man, don't leave your wife. Yeah. Because if you do, you gonna cause her to commit adultery, then you gonna cause whoever get with her to commit adultery.
I remember it was I used to work in his pants. Well, Roy, that was like my first year or two there. Roy was married. He had he had a wife, of course. He had a wife married, but one day he came to work, man. He was like, but he looked like he was down. I was like, you good, man? Everything all right? Like, man, I caught my wife messing around with somebody. He had walked in on me. And he had, he said, man, I just let him have. I had walked out. You know, some men, they'll black out. They'll get the shoes there. He was like, yeah, man, she was in there with one of her students, man, that girl. And I'm like, God damn.
She was with a girl?
Yeah. A female student. Probably a stud. And you're like, you know, other people in the world be like, oh shit, your wife over there, you should have just jumped in. But it's like sexual immorality, man. You can't have them same gender lovers. Everybody ain't with it. Right. That man walked in, he see her with a woman who wanna be a man. He'll tell him what they were doing when he walked in. But yeah, man, he had 5 years of brother and all that. She was trying to talk to him. I don't talk to this bitch. She over here, he had showed me the phone like she calling me back. I don't want to talk to her.
That's a pain that women ain't gonna ever experience. They ain't gonna understand it. A man love his woman far greater than she loves him. Mm-hmm. You know, they don't understand it. You know, for a woman, she would die for her child, but a woman would not die for her man. Yeah. But a man would die for his woman or his child. You know, and that alone will let you know how much greater the love is. Just like Yahweh Shah died, he died for the whole nation. None of us will ever say we'll do that, you know, because we can't go through what he went through. Right. We can't endure what Yahweh Shah did, and then he had to do it and still be righteous and not sin, not go off, not one time. We can't do that. You know, we wake up in the morning and somebody pisses us off, it's over. You know?
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, compare Yahweh Shah, compare it to the hierarchy, you know, Yahweh Shah loving the church, you know, or we consider the church the bride, you know, in the same way that a man loves his wife, because he tells us to love our wife, to love the church, you know, and women to love the man, the husband, as if she were loving Yahweh Shah, you know, so, and that means look at him in the sense of your spiritual leader, you know, so, like you said, you know, women don't look at us like that. You know, they don't look at us as spiritual leader, the head. You know, they look. Most of them look at us beneath them.
How much? I was gonna say, you know how much restraint Yahweh Shah had to have to not spaz out on Jake. You know, because Yahweh Shah was on the earth with spiritual power. You know, he had to have major discipline and self-control. Not to crash out on even the most wicked, where the Pharisees and Sadducees. This time, you know, it's a different story. You know, like he said with Isaiah 63. Yeah, Isaiah 63 or 47. He said, "I will not meet thee as a man." he was talking about, of course, Esau, Edom, America, Babylon the Great, but guess what? You got 2/3 of Jacob over here in America. He ain't meeting them like a man either. Because the first time he came down as a man, they treated him like he a man. This time, they gonna look at him as a god. And you can't hang in the ring with Yahweh Shai.
And even as a man, people always seem to forget that it's the same man. He still flipped some papers over at one point.
Right. He put hands on Jacob in a righteous way. But it was restraint because Yahweh Shai could have just like waved his hand and somebody just vaporated, turned into vapor. Because you remember when they came to arrest him, he was like, who y'all coming to get? He was like, we coming to get Yahweh Shai, because he knew they were going to try to get all of them. And then they just flew back. They just fell back.
Out there working, putting food on the table, paying the bills and whatnot. You want to come home to some food or a hug or something. Go to hell or work that off. We work the day shift. Your mom worked in the same place. She worked the night shift. Then he came home. You just studsing on the couch. He said, "What's going on here?" She was like, "Yeah, I just thought I'd bring her in or something." He's like, "Man, out here." He had left that situation alone too, but he didn't catch them going there. Yeah, wicked woman to, I was expecting a wicked man, but wicked woman to a wicked woman. But now, that brother doing that, I'm not saying, well, we don't know who the Nick is, you know what I'm saying? But we say, Jake, he cool, he ain't no bad dude. Yeah, but now he got peace. He got him warm. They had been knowing each other though. But now he got him warm, they been together for some years. They stay together, he cool now. He on the, he changed the diet up, he work out, all types of stuff. He been on the up and up. He done signed up, he done moved up in a different position at work. The other one signed, he holding him back.
I got a precept too. Where it's really, any brother got a precept. It's Isaiah 4:1, but I'm gonna go into the commentary, the study Bible, which I'm gonna read the verse first, and then I'm gonna go into it. Because then it's gonna go back to that Corinthians about the unbelieving wife, the unbelieving cousin, coming from that angle. This is Isaiah 4:1 in the KJV. It says, "In that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach." Now going down to the study Bible, where they give, they go into the interpretation of it. And it says, in that day, it says this phrase often refers to a future time of judgment or restoration in biblical prophecy, which that's why we started with Habakkuk chapter 2. That vision goes into the prophecy for an appointed time. It says in Isaiah that day frequently points to the day of the Lord, a time when the Most High will intervene decisively in human history. It can indicate both immediate historical events and astrological fulfillment. Now it says 7 women will take hold of one man. The number 7 often symbolizes completeness or perfection in the Bible. Here it suggests a significant imbalance between men and women, likely due to the devastation of war, where many men have died. This scenario reflects a desperate situation where women seek security and social standing through marriage, even if it means sharing one husband. Which, we went into that Isaiah 33:6, that wisdom and knowledge. This is the one thing that Esau can't take away from you. That wisdom and knowledge from Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to separate the elect from the non-elect. And that's what the Lord says in 2 Ezra 16, and I think it's 72, 73. Brother, get that real quick. 2 Ezra 16, where it says, "In that day shall it be known who are my children." 16, I think it's 72, 77, 76.
You got to talk about you just said, there's one thing Esau can't take away. I was thinking about this yesterday. They're probably like a part of that Quran, man. They release something in your body that'll mess around and lower your brain function or something. But what made me think about it yesterday was you know, somebody was talking to me about like sister from work with the water. She started to ask me about fruit and stuff like that. She was seeing me with mine, and we trying to get us smoothies and stuff together. And I got to thinking like Esau can have it to where people that get this stuff in their body. People work out. You got to have a certain level of this and that. Yeah, we talking about like B12, vitamin E, vitamin K, and all that. They might have it to where they'll present it like, yeah, you get this. Like I was thinking about like subscriptions. It's a subscription for every damn thing. You subscribe to this one, or this payment plan on it, or this version of it. You get to use these benefits. You get to release this amount of vitamin C in your body or whatever when you get sick, or this amount of vitamin E or whatever. They might have it where you can do something like that. It might mess with your blood in a certain way. Yeah, you're cold, you're hot. You can do something to try to regulate you. You know what I'm saying? They trying to play the most hot. Subscribe to it.
They'll tell you they spray it in the air, and if you subscribe to it, they'll turn it on where you can extract it to your body automatically. You ain't even gotta eat it.
From your body, yeah. And it sounds like it's way out there, but it sound like it's getting far-fetched out.
Well, what they're doing is making people more and more lazy to where they don't want to get it the proper way, like exercise, getting out, getting vitamin D from the sun, and or cooking. That's what fast food did. Fast food stopped all the cooking. The mom from having to come home from work and cook, and I just get fast food. And now they contaminate the fast food so much that it ain't right. It's just straight garbage. And but cooking the home good meals, like peas, greens, and stuff like that, to where you can get some of the vitamins that you need, because it doesn't have all of it in it. They just strip the ground so that none of the stuff has the strength that it used to have. Because you look at the men back in my youth time, eating the vegetables and stuff out the garden, those men had a lot of strength, a lot of testosterone, and could pick up things that, men today can't even find them picking up, like logs, and work men to deal with log trucking and picking up logs. I mean, I ain't talking about just no limb, I'm talking about a log this long, about that big around,
Right. When you spoke of the testosterone, it was a brother, he did a video not too long ago, Holy Bible Defenders. He had mentioned that point how, I forgot what generation he went to, but it was a generation ahead of us, all of us. He was saying that those men, they had about 1,000 more, I forgot exactly what it was, but they had, like you said, more testosterone, because each generation is getting weaker. He said the men, I guess our generation, like me and Yashawan on down, or at least our generation, we had like 500, whatever he was saying. He said we significantly weaker and had less testosterone. So because the video he was going into was IUIC basically saying, which is the spirit of this. They were saying that having more than one wife on this side is a sin. But the brother was going through all the scriptures, and the guy from IUIC was saying, how you gonna handle all these women? And that's what he mentioned of the testosterone. He was like, if men a couple years ago had at least 1,000 more than what we got now, then the men in the ancient world, like David, all the men that had multiple wives, Solomon, they probably was at 7,000, 8,000 or whatever. They can help about 10 women in an hour or whatever. He was just going into that stuff. He said that about testosterone.
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, we'll go to verse 67. Behold, now by Shai, self is the judge, fear him. Leave off of your sins and forget your iniquities, to meddle no more with them forever. So shall now by Shai lead you forth and deliver you from trouble, from all trouble.
Right. He giving us the blueprint. If you want to be saved, let your sins go and don't go back. Don't willingly go back to it.
For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you indeed, being idle, with things offered unto idols.
Right, and a lot of northern kingdom experiencing it with the ice rounds. So now they made it to where they can just instantly break into your home and kick your door down without needing permission.
Verse 69, and they that consent unto them shall be hid in derision and in reproach. And they that consent unto thee shall be had in derision and in reproach. Second Ezra 16 and 69, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach, and trodden underfoot.
Right, so if you consent to all these mandates and everything Esau Edom coming with, you know, this whole system coming with, they gonna have you in derision, man. It's gonna have you in derision. You got it, bro. Look up that word derision.
And they that consent.
So, might as well just stand firm, stand stiffly for the name, the will of your, for the will and name of your Habashim basically. You know, because you consent, it's only for your destruction. They're gonna have you in derision. Just like these people consenting with the mandates of the C-19, taking that jail, straight derision.
It says derision means contemptuous ridicule or mockery.
Contemptuous ridicule or mockery.
Scoffing, the disrespect, the taunt, scorn, insult, teasing.
Cause this what happened when you consent to Esau anyway, man. You hate you know what I'm saying? You know, you gonna hate you ever done that, man. Cause this man, he is a vessel of refuge for destruction. So everything he come with, it end up lead to your destruction. You know, you got hell and death followed him. So that's what he's producing. You know, that's basically what he's producing, hell and death. You got it, huh?
Second Ezra 16 and 7. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord.
Right, and those that fear the Lord. This gonna be on the nation of Israel. You know, that's what we see going on right now. We see that's why they even talked about enacting the Insurrection Act in Minnesota because of the unrest that's going on. You know how people are rising up against how the ICE agents are handling the people, especially the Northern Kingdom. You know, because you start looking at how they arresting, Jake and how they handling Jake. They don't. I done seen a couple videos where they were taking, when I say Jake Northern Kingdom, they were taking Northern Kingdom. They was at work at Target, and he was telling them he legal, and they still took him out. And then I don't know if this guy was a heathen. He looked like he was a Moabite. It was another case in the article. It was him, his son, his daughter-in-law, and their child. They all lived together, and ICE kicked the door down, and with guns pointed at the whole family, and took him out into the freezing cold. All he had on was his underwear, some slippers, and a blanket because he was sleeping. And they took him to the middle of nowhere, taking pictures of him. And he was trying to show him who he was, that he was legal. They didn't even want to hear it. So it's gonna be a great insurrection. They gonna, like I said, they gonna come down like madmen. Well, he got to.
Verse 71, they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord.
Right, they're gonna be uncontrollable. It ain't gonna be nothing that people can do to really get them to stop treating them in that contemptuous way, like the brother being held in derision. And that's how Esau moving right now. And guess what? They got full support of the government. Homeland Security say they justifying their actions. J.D. Vance say they got full immunity. Trump backing them up, saying that if the government, I mean not the government, but the wicked officials keep getting in the way, he gonna do something about it.
And that sounds like a bunch of hate crimes to me. I thought that was a bad thing. Taking what you said? What kind of who they took at the house? Like what he was?
It looked like he a Moabite on the picture, but I don't know. He could be still Jacob.
Then it's still against what they say, another race other than yours. A white man snatching a Chinese man out of their house, taking him to the middle of nowhere, taking pictures of. Well, then you could have took the pictures outside the house.
Right. And he said, I don't know how long. I think he said it took him about an hour or so away. He wasn't even nowhere near his house.
And then what we going out here for? You gotta think about what we're going through his mind on the way out there. I'm in my drawer, man. What y'all been doing?
He thought he was gonna die because he said he thought they were gonna beat him. But they wasn't. He said they wasn't. It was in the middle of nowhere, so it wasn't nobody around to know what what was gonna happen to him.
He probably said that to him too. Can't nobody even scream like him. How they get out?
Which all of that is a shadow to come, during Jacob's trouble. So, they started with the northern tribe, but sooner or later it's gonna hit the southern tribe. And then, we've been through a lot already, but we know that's coming. That there was a time that have never been before on the earth. So, like the brother quoted earlier in the week, so it's coming, and now it's the time to prepare your mind what we in camp on all the time, and what y'all started out with, like 33, 5, and 6, because the elite are trying to erase all the slavery. They're taking everything that deals with slavery out to where it's not mentioned anymore. They trying to erase it. But, they're not going to be able to erase it because, it's already etched in a lot of people's mind. What happened. You got too many people that have went through it, that have told they kids and generations under them, what it was about. And so it's something they can't erase. It's something like you were saying earlier when I walked up, something they can't take away, So they trying to remove it and take it away so it's not in people's mind anymore, but it's not going to happen.
It's just like Black Amaya, you hear about that picture out, and you say it was his grandma, that was a slave. They had the picture of him.
Yeah.
So you can, especially when Jake got it in the house, man, you can't get rid of it, you can't hide that.
Right.
Like I say, there's history. It's his story, it's your story. Verse 72, when they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses, then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire.
Right, so they said, then it shall be known who are my chosen. They, the elect will be tried through the fire, being constantly being tested and being refined and being proven. That's what it say in the GNT. They're gonna be tested, but they're gonna be proven. So they're gonna be solid, members of the elect. So going back to this Isaiah 4:1 commentary where it says 7 women will take hold of one man, number 7 often symbolizes completeness or perfection in the Bible. Here it suggests a significant imbalance between men and women, likely due to the devastation of war, where many men have died. This scenario reflects a desperate situation where women seek security and social standing through marriage, even if it means sharing one husband. Now it says, and say we will eat our own bread and wear our own clothes. This indicates a reversal of traditional marriage roles where a husband would typically provide for his wife. The woman's willingness to support themselves highlights their desperation to remove the stigma of being unmarried. It also reflects the economic hardship and societal collapse following judgment. So going back to that 1 Corinthians 7, the unbelieving wife, during that time, you ain't got to worry about trying to convince your wife or a teacher about who we are. She's just gonna fall in line because of how bad everything is gonna be during that time. It says, just let us be called by your name. Being called by a man's name signifies marriage and the social protection it affords. In ancient Israel, a woman's identity and security were closely tied to her marital status. This plea underscores the cultural importance of marriage and the shame associated with being unmarried, which, as we see now, that like you were saying, even with the one we were dealing with, you know, she see now being without a righteous man, it ain't nothing out here. You know, that's why they call it the law. But the scriptures already talk about this. You know, yeah, they take away our disgrace. It says the disgrace refers to the social stigma of being unmarried and childless, which was significant in ancient Near Eastern culture, which is where we came from. This plea for the removal of disgrace can also be seen as a medical metaphor. So, and I'll read one more breakdown of it, and then let's look at some others. So, what does Isaiah 4:1 mean? So again, it's another breakdown. It says, in that day signifies a definite moment of divine intervention. Isaiah often uses this phrase to mark the aftermath of judgment that the Most High himself initiates. The context is the discipline promised in Isaiah 3:16-26, where the nation's pride is stripped away. With many being slain, Isaiah 3:25, society is left lopsided and the women feel the consequences. Scripture never exaggerates. The prophecy points to a literal season where the land is devastated and survivors gripped with the scarcity and shame. In Joel chapter 2:1-11 and Amos 8-9, when we read that, now it says 7 women will take hold of 1 man. 7 women reflects an extreme shortage of husbands after war, confirming Isaiah 3:25. Your men will fall by the sword. Taking hold pictures urgency and desperation. Ruth 1:14, 1 Samuel 15:27. The normal approach to marriage is reversed. Women now press for acceptance. And it says the Most High predicted such inversion as a curse for covenant unfaithfulness. It says underscoring the literal conventional backdrop. We will eat our own bread and provide our own clothes. Their pledge, our own bread, shows willingness to forego the customary provisions of husband's supply. They ask for no dowry, no support, only relief from reproach.
I want to say this, even like now, you go out and you deal, well, just not even just going out, when you just talk to women, whether you know what I'm saying, in public, social media, work, and we women all looking for the same thing. Somebody to pay their bill, and put food on the table for them. They don't even know cook here. You fuck around, got cooking too. But then things that now they go, and now it's saying like they gonna have their own. And you ain't gotta bring the food. I got my own food. I got my own this. I got my own this. You ain't gonna be, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna be here to a different family.
It says self-reliance here is not noble independence, but evidence of social collapse. The scene reminds us that sin's fallout touches everyday needs: food, clothing, and security. Now, just let us be called by your name. Claiming your name means legal marriage, gaining the man's household identity, which legal marriage is according to the way the Lord set it up, which is through sex. Name conveys covering, protection, and future. Compare the honorable place Ruth seeks under Boaz's name. It says Isaiah later promises a remnant will bear the Most High's own name, pointing beyond human solutions to divine restoration. Now take away our disgrace. Our disgrace refers to the stigma of barrenness or singleness in that culture. Shame in scripture is often tied to covenant failure. Only the Lord can lift it completely. The cry foreshadows the gospel. Yahweh Shai removes reproach, presenting his bride without spot or wrinkle. So the summary says Isaiah 4:1 literally pictures a devastated society where women beg a single man for marriage simply to erase shame, offered to meet their own material needs. The verse stands as a sober reminder that disobedience brings tangible relational fallout. Yet it also hints at a deeper hope. Only by taking hold of a greater name, God's own. asking this grace to be removed and true security restored. So just tying all that back into that verse Corinthians 7, where the Lord said that the unbelieving husband or unbelieving wife, you know, all you gotta do is just, you know, maintain. That's what Paul was saying. Look, if you got a woman, maintain, you know, and if you don't have one, don't go seek it, you know, just maintain. If the Lord give you one, you know, you deal. But in that time, you know, for whoever these brothers, you know, it's gonna apply to, you gonna be moving in the mindset of trying to be delivered and saved, and women gonna be trying to get under you. So, you know, your unbelieving wife, if she's still with you at that time, she, trust me, she gonna turn into a believer. If all the other women are gonna be like that, that don't have a man trying to get a man, the woman that you know, with, if she's still with you, trust me, she gonna convert. My brother got anything? Start at 1? Or you go to 12?
I'm starting with.
It's Isaiah chapter 13, verse 1.
What's the subtitle?
Yeah, there you go. The burden of Babylon which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain.
Right.
Exalt the voice unto
You got both on the amplified and
yeah.
tell him, disciple which one you want to call.
Exalt the voice unto them.
So it said, lift up read up some lot.
Lift up the banner upon the high mountain.
So we lifting up the banner on the high mountain. And that banner represents this holy Bible, the standard of Yahweh Hashem Shai. Go ahead.
Exactly.
America is that high mountain, you know. It's the highest government on the earth that's been controlling everything, you know, for hundreds of years. Yeah.
Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand.
So we exalt the voice unto them and we shaking the hand. We the one and I people. You know, we just basically lifting up our voice like a trumpet. And letting Jacob know their transgressions and the house of Israel their sins, you know. That's basically what we're doing, letting our people know, look, America done tricked us. You know what I'm saying? This whole system, they put us in environments and situations that got us doing all type of wickedness. We can't use that as no excuse no more. You know, we got to come back to the Heavenly Father. This is our way out. You know, because once He bring the judgment, it ain't gonna be no more talk. You know, because we know right from wrong. You know, we got
that they may go into the gates of the nobles.
See, but it's all about this word going into the gates of the nobles. Who are the nobles? The elites, the international bankers who control everything, who control the money, who control the resources, who make the laws. They control everybody. You know, so now this word is reaching to them. And we letting y'all know y'all time is up, the rulership is over, the kingdom of heaven is being established before your eyes, and it's gonna be ruled by so-called black, Hispanic, Latinos, and Native American, so-called Native American men, you know, under the authority of the so-called black man, Yahweh Shai, you know. You got it.
I have commanded my sanctified ones.
So the Lord commanded His sanctified ones. You know, go ahead.
I have also called my mighty ones for my anger.
See, we the sanctified ones. You know, we was Lord willing, we those men. But get that in John, what is it, 17 and 12, you can get it on Habakkuk. Sanctify them through my word, sanctify them through the truth. Don't read that again, huh?
I have commanded my sanctified ones.
So the Lord have commanded His sanctified ones to do what? To exalt the voice, lift up that banner upon the high mountain. You know, I think it's John 17 and 12.
What up, guys?
I have also called my mighty ones for my anger, even them that rejoice in my height.
So who is His mighty ones? The holy angels. You know, Revelation 7. You know, the angels that was given the power to bring destruction upon the earth. You know, so everybody has a job to do. Remember, the angels are our brother, and of our fellow servants, and of our brother. You know, they don't have the physical bodies we have. You know, they just had a straight
celestial body. Oh, you got it up. 17 to 15. Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth.
17. But I started 15.
And get you remember, get what's the name right? Those second here is now sanctified before the word begin. Get those sanctified ones. Go ahead.
I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read the KJV. It says, this is John 17 and 15. I pray not that thou shouldest take them out of the world, but that thou shouldest keep them from the evil. They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world.
Right, see, so the elect is not of this world. Even as Yahushua wasn't of this world, the elect are not of this world. This is why we're able to do what we're doing. Lord willing, we those men. But this is why the elect is going to be able to stand stiffly for the name of Yahushua in this world. You know, go ahead and confess him. If they can stand so stiffly and confess his name in this world, go ahead.
And I'm going to read 17 in the AMP. It says, sanctify them in the truth.
Sanctify them in the truth.
Set them apart from your purpose. Set them apart for your purpose.
Right.
Make them holy.
Right. See, sanctify, make them holy. Go ahead, set them apart. Go ahead.
Your word is truth.
That word, his word is truth. And what the scripture said, you should know the truth, and the truth should make you free. You got it, you know.
Second Ezra chapter 6, you want the point?
Oh, yeah.
Second Ezra chapter 6.
Chapter 9.
It says,
Sanctify those who were sanctified before the word begins.
oh, okay. The second Ezra chapter 9. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said peril.
Shall be preserved from the said peril. Now, it's gonna get ugly out here. We still can go home and get in there, get up that heat, get up that cover, relax, you know what I'm saying? And eventually, it's gonna turn into Jacob's trouble for real. It's gonna be, it's scripture said in those days, we're gonna be as spirits in those days. You know, boy, you know, what did the Lord say? Pray that flight don't come in the winter.
I was just thinking about that.
You got it, huh?
And shall see my salvation in my land,
So you should see his salvation in his land.
and within my borders,
Right.
for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning.
Right, see? So you got the elect, the 144,000, they were sanctified from the beginning. They were sanctified from the beginning before this world was created to do what they do. You know, just like Yahushua was. They was right there being sanctified with Yahushua. You know, and they follow the Lamb whithersoever he goes. You got it, huh?
It's back in Isaiah 13 and 4. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as a great people.
The noise of the multitude in the mountains, in the different governments around the world, you know, like of a great people. This all the different countries coming up against America. Go ahead.
A tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together.
See?
The Lord of hosts mustered the host of the battle.
See, the Lord is mustering up the host of the battle. The Lord is getting all these, he had, you know, over the years, but mainly now, since Trump, you know, got in, the Lord mustering up the host of the battle. He making all these nations, boy, want America bad. Go ahead. Even American allies, cause they like, we've been friends for all this time, and now you trying to tell us, look, y'all slacking, y'all ain't nothing, I don't need y'all, you know.
Putting tariffs on them.
Right, you know. And they like, what? We been in this together. What, you know how much slack we done took for y'all? You know what I'm saying? We done this and that. Oh, okay. Go ahead, bro. That's why in Revelation 17, when it said the 10 horns, she'll hate the whore and strip her neck, make her desolate. When you look that word desolate up, it goes into, they're going to take away her aid. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Revelation 17, where it says 10 horns shall hate the horse. Go ahead, you run.
They come from a far country,
See, they come from a far country.
from the end of the heavens.
See, but this talking about Russia and all her allies. Go ahead.
Even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation.
See, even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation. What's the weapons of his indignation? Those thermonuclear missiles, those intercontinental ballistic missiles. Those are the weapons of the Lord's indignation. Those weapons was made through all the elements on this earth. You know, they learned how to manipulate. The so-called white man, living out his blessing, he learned how to manipulate the elements on the left-hand side to create a weapon. You know what I'm saying? The horn has so much energy in it that when he let it loose, it'll just wipe out everybody. You know? Right, you know. You got it out. Around verse 10, 16.
Yeah. Trying to see a good. I started at 10 to see a good place to start. I started at 14. It said, this is Revelation 17:14. These shall make war with the Lamb.
See, these should make war with the Lamb, talking about the 10 horns, you know. Because all the Lord will come back in the midst of World War III, and all nations gonna stop fighting each other, and they're gonna turn their attention to the threat from outer space, you know, which is our salvation coming, you know, the chariots of Israel. You got it, bro. Yeah.
And the Lamb shall overcome them.
The Lamb will overcome them, because we're Revelations 19, you know. He coming on the chariot, and he should wage war in righteousness. Him and what is that? I saw heaven open. You know what I'm saying? In the armor, he who set up on that white horse, when you talking about the chariot, he's gonna crack the clouds and the armies of heaven coming with him. You know, we got a whole army. You know, we the ground force. We the ground force. We got a whole air force just in a whole nother realm that's gonna show up out of nowhere, man. But it's just like when Esau go to war. Man, once them B-52 bombers get them stealth bombers get to showing up, everybody, that's when all them countries realize, man, we ain't got shit, we at a disadvantage, man.
Call it the field street. Call it the field street.
Yeah.
It said, for he is Lord of lords and kings of kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful.
Yeah, with him is right. That's the armies of heaven.
And he said unto me, the water which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are people and multitudes and nations and tongues.
Talking about America, all the nations flock to America and live in America. Go ahead.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the horn.
The 10 horns represent those nations of the EU that's hating America. They want to see America gone now. You know what I'm saying? Even in Trump's first term, when he went over there, he was clowning, and they taking photos, he jumping in front, pushing, you know what I'm saying? He pushing the European Union leaders back, jumping in the front of, you know. Trump been clowning, you know, he been going hard, you know. It's from his first time until now, he talking, like you say, talking about putting tariffs on them, taxing them. Come on, go ahead, bro.
And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire.
So I said I want you to look up that word desolate. They should eat her, you know what I'm saying, make her desolate. He's going to show you how they're going to make her desolate. So it's going to show you, because you nothing without your allies.
I'm going to read in the AMP and then I'll look it up. It says, and the 10 horns which you saw, and the beast, these will hate the prostitute.
Because the whole beast system represents NATO and the EU. Go ahead.
And will make her desolate and naked, stripped of her power and influence.
See, and you can keep it right there. Gonna strip her of her power and her influence. Then it also says, when you look it up, strip her of her aid, you know, her power and her influence, you know. Go ahead.
And will eat her flesh and completely consume her with fire.
Now they're gonna consume her with fire. They're gonna shoot missiles on this place. You know, everybody gonna eventually shoot their missiles on America, so they're gonna strip her of her aid what is it, her aid and her influence. You know, and this is what they doing now.
Her power and her influence.
Right, strip her of her power and her influence. You know, because America, they might got the you know, all this military power, but you ain't nothing when you can't go, you win all the wars America had to fight overseas. You got to have your bases and your, you know what I'm saying? You know, why you think all them, like you always hear about them American troops stay stationed in Germany and this guy, that's where a lot of equipment and they had to, you know what I'm saying? That's like they had to go to war with Russia, the ground war, like even with that war in Ukraine. Oh, them American troops over there help fight. Them NATO troops help fight. You know, right? But you still got the Ukrainians over there who fight. You know, but it's the small heads who control that country because Ukraine is the land where that's where the Caucasus Mountains, that's where the Khazars came from right there in Ukraine. That's the land, you know, in Ukraine right there. That's where the Khazarian Empire was at. You got it, bro. That's it on there.
No, let me read one more.
Oh, go ahead.
It said, for Yahweh Shem Yahushua has put in their heart to carry out his purpose by agreeing together to surrender their kingdom to the beast.
So when they created that whole modern day Roman Empire, the Lord put it in their heart to do this. You know, so now he put it in their heart to you know, go ahead.
Until the prophetic word of Yahweh Shem Yahushua will be fulfilled.
To the prophetic words of Yahweh Shem Yahushua be fulfilled. So he put it in their hearts to set up their whole kingdom. You know what I'm saying? Their whole NATO and the EU. And now he put it in their hearts to turn on each other. You got it, bro.
Back at Isaiah 13, verse 6. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand.
Right.
It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt.
Right. So if you don't have this knowledge, wisdom, understanding, you gonna tap out mentally. Go ahead.
Verse 8 in the AMP. They of Babylon will be shocked and terrified. Pains and anguish will grip them. They will be in pain like a woman in childbirth. They will stare aghast and horrified at one another, their faces aflame from the effects of the unprecedented warfare.
See, right. Go ahead.
Listen carefully, the day of the Lord is coming, cruel with wrath and raging anger, to make the land a horror of devastation, and he shall exterminate its sinners from it.
Right, man. So we're going to read that in the KJV too.
Verse 9 in the KJV, behold, the day of the Lord coming, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger,
right,
to lay the land desolate.
To lay this land desolate right here. What land is talking about? Babylon the Great. Go ahead.
And he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it.
Destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Go ahead.
For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light.
Right. The
sun shall be darkened.
This is spiritually and physically, because we represent the stars. The Lord gonna pull us back. You know what I'm saying? We the stars. Read it again, bro.
For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light.
Right. Because what did the Lord say? And we should shine like what it said in Daniel 12. We should shine like the stars of heaven. You know, which that word shine goes to. They know we're gonna be teaching and warning. Go ahead, but this time gonna come, we're gonna fall back. And that's when our hell gonna break loose. And then physically, that thermonuclear war is gonna be so much smoke and warfare, it's gonna be smoke, blot out the sun and the moon.
The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. Verses 11 in the AMP. In this way I will punish the world for its evil, and the wicked for their wickedness, their sin, their injustice, their wrongdoing. I will also put an end to the arrogance of the proud, and will abase the arrogance of the tyrant. Verse 12 in the KJV. I will make a man more precious than fine gold.
Right, see, so he gonna make a man more precious. See, that's what the men of the Lord gonna get their true value back then. You gonna be priceless. You know, it's on a smaller level now. You know what I'm saying, for face value. But that's when it's gonna go. That's when that's when the price gonna go up. You know what I'm saying? How the price will go like $4,000 a pound now. You know, I mean an ounce. You know, go ahead. You know, hey, the men of the Lord prices in this thing. Go ahead.
I will make a man more precious than fine gold,
Right.
even a man than a golden wedge of Ophir.
Oh.
And I'm gonna read that in the BBE version. It says, I will make men, which is all talking about the men of the Lord. I will make men so small in number that a man will be harder to get than gold, even the best gold of Ophir.
Oh.
Therefore, verse 13, KJV, therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place, and the wrath of the Lord of hosts.
What's gonna cause the earth to move out of her place?
And in the day of his fierce anger, and it shall be as the chase road, and as a sheep that no man taketh up.
Right, that's how it's gonna be in this day, man. Especially for you Edomites around here. It's gonna be like you watch the National Geographic. You see the deer running for their life, and they don't got no defense. And like any animal chasing, whether it's a lion, leopard, you know what I'm saying? That's how that day gonna be. Go ahead.
They shall every man turn to his own people,
See, then this in the race war gonna kick out. Every man gonna turn to his own people.
and flee every one into his own land.
See, a lot of them other nations are already getting up out of here, but something gonna happen. Trump gonna start coming at them. Y'all gotta get terrorists. They gonna get up out of here. It's time to go. They gonna know they gonna get that car from home. Come on back home. It's time for us to light them up. You know what I'm saying? We done trained and milked. Come on back home. To the light of ass up. The great bull.
Everyone that is found shall be thrust through,
Right.
and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword.
You try to join them to these Edomites, join them to this system and their philosophy they pushing. You know what I'm saying? This whole AI thing, you know out of here.
Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives famished.
Right, you know what I mean?
Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them,
Who are the Medes? The Russians.
which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it.
You see, Trump been trying to bait them in, offer them into peace talks. Man, Russia ain't studying none of this.
I'm reading the A and B.
Dang, you can't pay them off. You ain't finna be able to pay them off with nothing. Go ahead.
Listen carefully. I will put the Medes in motion against them.
Now Jake said you ain't got no motion.
Right. Who have no regard for silver and do not delight in gold, and therefore cannot be bribed.
Right, see, they ain't gonna be able to bribe them. You know?
Their bows will cut down the young men of Babylon. They will take no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes will not look with compassion on the children.
So, it's gonna be Russia and all her allies, Iran, North Korea, China, all the nations that have India, they all gonna turn on the ground. Pakistan,
And Babylon, the great, the glory of kingdoms, Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldeans' pride, will be like Sodom and Gomorrah when the Most High overthrew them.
That's Sodom and Gomorrah went down.
Babylon will never be inhabited or lived in from generation to generation, nor will an Arab pitch his tent there.
See, man, you know they talking about America. Their Arabs ain't gonna pitch his tent here.
Nor will the shepherds let their sheep lie down there. But desert creatures will lie there, and their houses will be full of owls. Ostriches also will live there, and wild goats will dance there. Hyenas will howl in their castles, and jackals in their luxurious palaces. Babylon's time has nearly come, and her days will not be prolonged.
Right, man. So, the end of Esau's kingdom, you know, and the beginning of ours, you know. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. So, Isaiah 33, 5 and 6, you know. It said the Lord is exalted, the Lord is on high, and is exalted. It said he has
Filled Zion with judgment and righteousness.
he has filled Zion with judgment and righteousness. Wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy times, and the strength of thy salvation. The fear of your heart by Shema Hamashai is the treasure. You got it.
On that note, we're going to close out. First and foremost, we're going to turn the face to east. All praise to God, glory to
Our Hashem, Hamashai, Hashem,